Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all today on behalf of the AABN Core Committee for our 210th weekly webinar. I would like to thank all of you for your interest and your continued active participation and commitment towards this webinar series. I would like to thank the Core Committee of AABN for collaborating and organizing this weekly webinar. We are well represented from several domains here today. As we move forward to ensure the future of AABN, we will continue to invest in the vast potential inherent in collaboration among individuals of varying backgrounds, perspectives, and expertise. Your encouragement and constant feedback on how to improve our webinars have only made our resolve and commitment to these ideals stronger. I would like to thank Rajul Kastiya, a guest speaker today, for willingly cooperating to share her valuable knowledge and experience on listening and essential leadership skills. Real leadership begins not with speaking, but with understanding the voices around you. Listening, true intentional listening, might be one of the most underrated skills in leadership. Amid the constant demands, rapid decision making, and expectations for visionary thinking, leaders often prioritize speaking and listening. Great leadership is built on listening deeply and consistently. When leaders listen, they unlock the potential of the teams, foster a culture of trust, and create environments where people feel valued and understood. In a world that values talking, listening is a superpower. Leaders who listen create an atmosphere where team members feel safe to share, innovate, and take risks. These leaders don't just hear words, they seek to understand the meaning and motivations behind them, which can be a game changer in creating strong, resilient teams. In this webinar today, our eminent guest speaker, Rajul Kastiya, corporate trainer and facilitator, momentum training and HR consultancy in Nashik, will explore why listening is essential to effective leadership, practical steps to enhance your listening skills, and how listening can transform your leadership and team dynamics. I have the pleasant duty of welcoming and introducing our guest speaker, Rajul Kastiya, to this interactive business networking session. Rajul has a bachelor's and master's degree in banking management and a postgraduate diploma in business administration and a postgraduate diploma in training and development. After spending her initial years with two leading banks, she realized her passion was different. Rajul firmly believes that growth and success are not just about adapting to change, but about actively shaping the future. With over 12 years of experience as a corporate trainer, she has had the privilege of training more than 5,000 professionals, primarily middle and senior management, helping them build essential soft skills, leadership capabilities, and business communication expertise. While she explored various career paths, she discovered a true calling in training and haven't looked back since. Being in front of people, facilitating their growth, and making a lasting impact on their personal and professional lives is what drives her every day. Her professional life in empowering individuals to take charge of their development, refine their skills, and unlock their true potential so they too can create the future they envision. Some of her key skills include leadership, teamwork, communication, interpersonal skills, and presentation skills. She is a certified career counselor too. There is so much to Rajul's achievements and journey. I'm not sure it can all be summarized in the limited time in this session. So without delay, I would like to open the floor to her. So I'm not going to make you wait longer. We'll let Rajul take over and regale you with the astute experiences and fresh ideas. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Rajul. We are truly privileged to have you deliver the speech today. Thank you, and over to you, Rajul.
Thank you so much, Gopi sir, for this wonderful introduction to the topic as well as to me. So yes, a very, very good morning to each one of you. First of all, thank you so much that on a Sunday morning, all of you all have taken out time. And as all of you all have said, Gopi sir's efforts are commendable. We had connected around 2-3 months ago, and I was supposed to do this session earlier, but due to personal and professional reasons, I couldn't do it. But he was always invitations for the session and sending regular reminders. So yes, his efforts are commendable and need to be applauded for that. So great work, sir. And now coming to the topic, I would just, before I even start off with the session, I would want to just give me a second. I'll just share my screen. I would like to ask all of you few questions before we dive into the session. So is my screen is it, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, again. Thank you so much. I would just like to say one thing before we start off with the session, that I would sincerely request each one of you to be very, very open with your questions. We can keep a Q&A session. Definitely, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the session. But even in between, if you would to share your thoughts, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to speak about pertaining to the topic that we're discussing, you all are free to interrupt in between as well. I would prefer if you could unmute your mic and speak up, because I will not be able to see the chat screen while I'm sharing my screen. So that would be great. You all can speak up and let me know. And if there is any problem with that, I'm perfectly fine. Gopi sir, can you please help me out with that and let me know what people are sharing on the chat? Yes, on the chat window. So just a few questions for you all before we start. Okay. So first question is, considering that our topic is listening is an essential leadership skill, I would first actually like to know from all of you, do you think that listening is a essential leadership skill? How many of you agree? If you can, just put a yes or a no on the chat. Okay, I am able to see the chat screen over. Thank you. No automation. Yes, 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 yes. I am getting a yes from most people. Okay, great. Okay. Now I would like to go on to my next question. Do you consider yourself a good listener? How many of you can say that you all are good listeners? No, yes, yes, not all the time. Yes, no. Okay, partial 50% trying. I really like it that all of you are really being very, very true to yourself and saying, okay, I think I am. Candid answers. Thank you so much. Now coming 70% of the time. Great. Now coming to the last question for the moment. If you have to rate yourself as a listener on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself? Gopi sir has already given me 70%, so that would be 7 for him. On a scale of 1 to 10, okay, 6, 6, 5, 7, 8, okay, 6, 7, okay, okay, great, okay. You guys don't mind, can any of you just unmute and tell me that why have you given yourself the score that you have given? Why do you think, where is the scope of improvement that you think? Because I see hardly anyone giving yourself a 9, very few 8, more I see 4, 5, 6, 7. If you all don't mind, can you unmute and let me know why is it that you have given the score you have given?
When June is telling something, we will not listen mostly, madam. So that's
Okay,
why we are giving the rating list.
okay, okay. Thank you for the candid answer, sir. Thank you.
As a professor, I am trained to teach, not listen.
Well said, well said. Words to convey my thoughts.
When we are emotional, we are not listening. Ma'am. Mainly I am.
Okay, when you're emotional, you tend to speak more or express yourself more rather than listening. Okay, agreed.
No, I will not given any score, Adam. But listening, I've been a leader all my life. Listening, basically, whether my boss is listening to me or I listen to somebody else, is totally depending upon a situational context. See, there is a situational context, conditions, and sensitive dependencies. These three things actually make somebody listening or not listening comes into picture. And it is extremely difficult to say that at all times I'll have only one number with me. Sometimes I will have 10 out of 10. Sometimes I'll have 2 out of 10. It is a kind of a Gaussian curve model, madam. That's very important to understand. We cannot average and say I can have a 24 hours same listening capability. It is purely based on the conditions, dependencies, and the context.
Okay. Very well said, sir. Very well said. I totally agree. I just based a lot on the conditions where you are, who is your audience. There is a lot of things that come into picture. Well done. I will listen, but final decision, I will take a call. Agreed, agreed, definitely. It is that way only. So yes, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. So we have come to a conclusion that yes, definitely listening is an essential leadership skill. So you should feel that you all are average listeners. That's what I have come to the conclusion. That definitely, as sir said, that Muthu sir said that not all the time we cannot say that every time we are a 5 or a 6, or at times maybe we might be a 10 also, we might be a 2 also. But on an average, I guess most of you have uh, told that on an average, this is where you would rate yourself. So I would just like to now do a very, very small activity with all of you, where if you all can, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If how many of you can come on the video, okay, just for 2 minutes? Even if you cannot come on the video, you cannot turn on your video, I'm perfectly fine, but just do the activity with me. Try to do it wherever you are sitting. If you're lying down also, it's perfectly fine. If you're just attending the session from the bed also, it's perfectly fine. Just try to do this activity. If you can turn on the camera, that will be great as well, okay? So what you have to do is, you have to listen to me, okay, and repeat the actions that I am doing. Okay? Simple instruction, listen to me and repeat what I'm doing. Wherever you are sitting, lying down, standing, whatever you're doing, just take your right hand out. Okay. Instead, we do that so that you can see me on the screen. Right hand on the right shoulder. Left hand on the left shoulder. Great. I can see Vishwanath sir and Gopi sir doing it with me. Right hand on your right ear. Left hand on your left ear. Right hand on your right cheek. Left hand on your left cheek. What did I say?
You're doing the wrong way.
No, I was actually testing you. That what is it that you all are doing? How many of you, just put it on the chat screen, the ones who were doing it with me? I told you that left hand on the left cheek, but I placed my left hand on my chin. What is it that you were doing? You were only looking at me and following me rather than thinking. Yes, there is a difference between hearing and listening. We tend to feel that we're actually listening to the person, but we're actually most of the time looking at the person, understanding their non-verbal communication, and listening less. Hearing is more about just taking in something from one ear, probably not registering it. Listening is about registering what you are hearing. So what happened just now in the activity was that you were looking at me and doing and not listening. First instruction that I gave was that listen to me and then do it. So had you listened properly to me, then your hand would have gone on your, instead of the chin, it would have gone on your cheek. So that usually we feel that we are listening to the other person. We are very good listeners, but most of the time that doesn't happen. So yes, now taking you back to the session, this was just more of an energizer that I wanted to do. So yes, as I said, the key here is not about listening more, it is about listening better. In this activity that we did. All of you all were listening to me. Okay, it was all about listening a little better. So all of you, I'm sure you all have been into the leadership field for so many years. You all are doing a great job when it comes to listening because you have been interacting with your juniors, interacting with your seniors, and this is something which usually, as Gopi sir said, it is a very, very underrated skill. When we speak about communication, people are only focusing about that how well and how clearly we are able to communicate our the topic that we are speaking about. We think mostly about how well we are able to speak, how well we are able to communicate, how well we are able to give feedback, how well we are able to convey our information, how well we are able to convey our message. Sometimes we miss a very, very important point that listening is a major part of our communication. We should be able to speak well, but we should be able to listen better. If we go by research says that out of 80, 80% of the time in the entire day, we are communicating. Whether we are talking or whether we are not talking, we are communicating. Even when we're sitting quiet in a certain conversation, we are sending out some message or not. We are communicating. In the entire day, when we are communicating, according to research, 45% of the time, we should be. As one of the sir said that he is a professor, most of the time he is doing the talking. I agree, sir, if I am a trainer, most of the time I'm doing the talking. But while we are not talking, are we actually truly listening to the person? Or we are just hearing? And when we're talking about listening also, are we doing active listening, empathetic listening, or are we doing the listening? Today, in course, the next couple of minutes, next probably 45 minutes, we'll keep talking about it. How is it that we can become better listeners? How is it that we can become active listeners? How is it that we can become empathetic listeners? And move away from the listening. I just have a question for all of you, which you don't really need to answer, but what I want you all to do is reflect. I want you to just think of that person who you go to when you share something, or you're in a major crisis, you have a problem. That person, it could be, mostly it is usually one or two people only whom we tend to work. That person that you instantly pick up the call and you want to speak to that person and share whatever is going on in your mind. It could be a good news, it could be a something that's troubling you. Just think about that. I just give you a 30 seconds. That sets that person apart. Why is it that you want to go to that interaction that you have with that person, that he is the person that comes to your mind when you want to share something, good or bad? If anyone is open with it, if you can share it on the chat or unmute and let me. Why is it that you decide to go to that person? Anyone who would like to share?
Madam, can you repeat the question? Your voice sometimes gets broken. I do not know. What about others? They're able to listen clearly. I'm not sure. Maybe my problem, or can you repeat
Am
the
I
question
audible?
if you don't?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask you that why is it that am I audible? Is it better now?
Yes. Yes,
Better now?
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah,
better.
but yes.
What is better
Yeah,
actually?
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for pointing out, sir. Yes, my question was that who is that
Still the voice
person?
should be, still the voice should be loud, madam.
Okay, okay. Just give me a second. Is it better now?
Yes, definitely. Definitely better than before.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, great, great. Thank you. Yes. So what the question that I was asking was that I wanted to know that how many of you, when you are in a situation, when you are in a soup, when you want to share something good or you want to share something, maybe when you're in trouble or you're having a certain problem, who is it that you decide to go to and why is it that you want to go to that person?
It is based on the first thing comes to the mind is who I can trust with my problem. Number one, and
Absolutely.
number two is who is capable to give you a solution. That's the only two fundamental things will start immediately. But the first is the
Okay.
trust, man.
Yeah. Very, very well said, sir. Why is it that that person has given you that comfort that you are able to trust that person?
Because he would listen completely when I say something to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know that that person is someone the trust has built, the trust has come into the picture, the ability that you feel that that person will give you a solution somewhere has a lot to do that when we go to that person, we know that that person is going to listen to me, that person is going to understand me, that person is going to understand or at least give a effort or try to understand my perspective. So many times, all of you, I'm sure you all can think of a leader, of a person in your life that they are definitely listening to you, but probably their listening is passive. They're listening because they have to listen. They are not offering you any solutions. They are not asking you any engaging questions. They are not, their verbal and non-verbal communication does not show that they're actually listening. They're waiting for an opportunity to budge in, interrupt, and speak up. They're just waiting that once you finish, I would like to speak up. But this person whom we trust, whom we know that is going to not only try to speak about himself, not only try to speak about his story or give a solution or give advice, these are people who are willing to listen. These are people who are willing to understand your perspective. And based on that, probably they might not agree, but they are at least willing to listen and give you a side of their perspective later once you have finished. So that is the key difference. A person who is trustworthy has to be a person who is going to be a good listener. Now, I would just like to turn the tables and ask all of you that how many of us think that we could be that person for people? How many people are comfortable coming to us? How many times when people come to us, we are there who are, as someone has said, that we are non-judgmental. We listen with a not with the purpose to respond, not with the purpose to interrupt, not with the purpose to give advice, but with the purpose to understand that other person, with the purpose to listen. This is just, I don't want an answer. This is just a point of reflection where I want all of you to just think on this point that am I that person for others? Am I able to be that kind of a listener? Am I able to be that support system for people? Especially when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about your team. As a leader, are you a passive listener when a person walks into your cabin or wants to speak to you? Are you a passive listener where you're just listening to him and just budging in, interrupting that, no, no, this is not like this. You don't understand. You don't do this. Somewhere we tend to go in so many times into the aggressive mode, or we go into the passive mode. An assertive person is a person who will listen. Assertive person is a person who will respect the other person's opinion. So where is it that we stand? Just a point of reflection. So now just moving on, I would like to, with this point of reflection, just like to show you a few statistics
which is based on research, which shows that how listening can boost not only the productivity but employee satisfaction. It could make a leader more approachable. If we see the fourth statistic, which is a very important statistic, 88% of the employees, only 8% of the employees say that their leaders are effective listeners. So if we see the gap, 92% of the employees feel that they are not heard. Leaders are not there for them when they want to share their perspective, which says a lot about, again, see, this is, we are not talking about any individual, we are talking about in general, we are speaking. So definitely there are exceptions, many of you might not agree with this, but here we are talking about research based on a very, very large number. 60% of workplace mistakes happen from communication failures. And when we speak about communication, as I just told, we are not only speaking about talking, we're speaking about listening as well. Employee satisfaction can increase majorly when leaders listen. When employees feel heard, when team members feel that their voice matters. So the statistics was just to highlight the need for listening, the need for active and empathetic listening. So if moving on, as we have just spoken about that, how many of you, where you all have rated yourself?
Madam,
when it comes to-
Madam,
Yeah.
sorry, since it's a very
Yes.
nice interactive session from beginning, you're asking us to unmute and talk. Like most speakers will say, don't unmute, and you are saying unmute and talk. With that,
Yes.
can I take the liberty to say something about the
Sure.
statistics you showed?
Definitely, sir. Please go ahead.
We can go back to the statistics.
Yes.
The throughout the world, lot of statistics and lot of surveys and lot of studies have been done on several subjects in the world, madam, including medical and everything.
Right.
The fundamental issue with every survey is it's biased, irrespective of how it is taken, irrespective of how it is conducted, whatever assurances are given. Every survey is completely biased. It doesn't apply to a specific particular thing. An average, it is okay. The fundamental issues in this model, because I participated in a lot of surveys like this with the major organizations. The fundamental
Okay.
issue comes here is that the three aspect applies, madam. Honesty is the first thing. Number two is maturity level is the second aspect of it. Number three, because if somebody is saying that the boss is not listening, what level of maturity is got? Because he's just saying that my boss is not listening. But the questionnaire for the survey does not elaborate to understand what his maturity level is. That's number two. Number three is education. Education, I'm not talking about qualification of a degree or something like that. What is the
Right.
kind of education he has gone, right, from young childhood? That's one of the major complexity in psychological model. And if we do not understand that psychological aspect of honesty, maturity, and the education level, then all the surveys and the misunderstanding will continue in life. Because fundamentally, all of us, every human being, has a conflict of bias in our minds because of our upbringing, education system, conditioning,
Absolutely.
whatever. So the survey
Absolutely.
alone does not exhibit the right information, madam. It is much beyond that. Sorry, I just wanted to
Absolutely.
share.
No, sir. I totally agree with what you're saying, and that's the reason when even I shared the statistic, that's what I told you, that this is a very generalistic view that I'm sharing just to highlight the importance of listening in leadership. Definitely, this is not going to be 100% accurate, but it just gives a idea to all of us that how important listening is. So when we say 80% of employees say leaders are not effective listeners, definitely it might not be 8%, sorry, not 88%. It could be probably 50% also. But even if it is 50%, there is a 50% gap there. So that's what I was here. I'm trying, and that's why I started with that disclaimer also that this might not be 100% true. It's more to just highlight the importance of listening in leadership. So thank you so much, sir. I totally agree with your point of view. Yes, so I here, as Muthu sir very well pointed out, that this is not a conclusive view. This is more about giving a idea as to what listening, the importance of listening in the entire leadership and the workplace, and in creating or and fostering a empowered workplace. Listening is a very important skill. So yeah, I have an assessment for each one of you. Again, I do not need the answers. You just need to be true to yourself when you're taking up this assessment. So there are just very, very simple statements, a couple of statements where you just have to give yourself a yes or a no. That's about it. And you don't have to share it with me, so you please be true to yourself. Okay, so the first question: I interrupt often or try to finish the other person's sentences. A simple yes or a no. Just if you have a notepad or a pen, you can just write it, or probably just think in your mind if you don't have it. I jump to conclusions. Very important point. As sir just pointed out, Muthu sir just pointed out, that everything is based on bias. And I firmly believe that even when we are listening to people, our preconceived notions, our past experiences with people create a lot of bias. And based on that, at times we tend to jump to conclusions even without listening to the entire conversation. We probably make a decision based on what we think is what is going on. I think more about my reply while the other person is speaking than what he or she is saying. I'm often overly parental and answer with advice even when not requested. This is again a very key point, which in my course of my entire career, I have seen a lot of leaders who tend to do this, that they feel that when someone comes to them, their sole purpose is that they're seeking advice. At times, probably it is not advice that they're looking for. They're looking just for someone to listen to them with an unbiased view, and just give them a shoulder to cry on at times. I don't give any response afterwards, even if I say I will. So many times while listening, we make a lot of promises. Do we follow it up? I'm impatient. I've seen a lot of leaders who are very, very impatient listeners. You might not agree. So if where you don't agree, you can just say no. I lose my temper when hearing things I don't agree with. As I said, we tend to sometimes go on an aggressive mode there. Instead of responding to the thing by listening, we tend to impulsively react. I try to change the subject to something that relates to my own experiences. Where when someone is talking, we are thinking more about, oh, this is something that has happened with me also. So we don't even allow the person to finish, and we budge in, we speak in between, and we try to share our own experiences, which might be similar to what they're saying. Okay. Sir, can I please request you to mute? Thank you. So, after all these questions, how many of you have more yeses than nos? Or how many of you don't have any yes at all? If you don't mind sharing on the screen that how many yeses have come, if you mind, then please do not share it. It's perfectly fine. If you have more than three yeses, then probably we need to work upon our listening. Okay, I can see answers 3, 4, 5, 4. Okay. We need more of no's and less of yeses. So this is again a point of reflection, that where is it that we need to work upon. So here I have, moving on, I will not speak much about this because the sentences are self-explanatory. We know where we need to work upon. So now we have spoken about, we have assessed ourselves, we have reflected where is it that we need to work upon. Now we're going to move on to something, another very important topic when it comes to listening. Before that, I have a video for all of you, which is a very short video. Please have a look.
It's not audible, Rajul.
There's no
Not,
audio.
not audible, not audible at all.
Okay. I will just, even if it's not audible, it's perfectly fine. I'll just let you know what it is. That here, there is this instructor who has told this fellow that please come and stand here. We will all catch you. He tells all these people that please fill in. And he tells him that we will all catch you and you need to fall. Okay. So this guy has stood up and people are all standing behind him. And now at the count of this instructor, this guy is supposed to fall. What just happened here? On a count of 3, he tells this guy, the one in the green jacket, that fall. Anyone who understood this video?
Yeah.
What just happened here? Yeah.
He didn't say fall back.
Inadequate instruction.
Inadequate instructions. So whose
Yeah.
mistake was it here?
The instructors.
Instructors? Anyone
And
has
also
any
the
other view?
yeah, man could also ask fall back or front. He could have asked. He could have.
Okay. Okay. So the mistake was from both sides?
Yes. No
Yes.
doubt.
Even the
No doubt.
mistakes were from the audience, the other people also. They should have also asked. And they should have covered the whole area. They should have formed a circle around him.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Third perspective.
Then he would have been saved.
Safe. Yes. So the reason for this video was that in first instinct that came out was that the mistake was of the instructor, the one who was saying, and not the one who was listening, the one who was speaking. That is usually what happens, that when we speak about communication,
No
we
clarity in communication.
absolutely no clarity in communication, and then we are very, very quick to say that probably the other person did not communicate properly. When we are listening, here what the guy in the green jacket was doing was total passive listening. When you are listening, we need to listen, and when there is a doubt, we tend to ask questions, which was missing here. Most people are, when I was speaking about passive listening, this was an example of passive listening where he did not ask a very, very key question, that am I supposed to fall back or am I supposed to fall in front? Where are all the people going to be standing? Neither did the audience, as you all said, pointed out, neither did the audience say, nor did the instructor point out and say that you're supposed to fall back. We are all standing back to so there is a lot of communication barriers that come into the picture when we speak about communication. It is not black or white, that I have conveyed my message and the other person will understand. So I want
But
all of
don't you
you.
think, madam, in the
Yeah.
whole community now, from a school education for children today,
Yes.
nobody is allowed to ask any questions. Look at the schools today. They're all like
Mhm.
robotic machines. All the children are robots actually. No parents are bothered about it. They just want to put their children to the most expensive school and blindly follow what the teachers say. Not a single school children is allowed to ask a question. Not a single employee is allowed to ask a question. Nobody is allowed to ask a question in the society today. Look at what is happening in India all around. Let us be very honest. Anybody asks a question against government is in trouble. Anybody asks a question against authority is in trouble. How, in a situation where from young childhood, from the age of 2 until the age of 70, even CEOs and the COOs of the organizations cannot ask a question, how that habit of questioning will come, madam? It is impossible, right? We create that is a big problem around us. And one of the biggest challenges you look around us is that everybody, even if you look at the podcast and YouTube chats and everything out, it is always there's no questions. No reporters today can ask a good question. It's a problem in the whole society, right? How do you resolve that first before we talk about yes, listening is good, is important, communication is critical, but how to implement it? That is what is critical, right? Beyond the requirements.
I just want to share the difference
Sir,
between education in the US and India is US, every student is encouraged to ask questions right from young age. So when our students go for higher education there, the problem is all other students are asking questions, but our students are shy, and this is one of the problem pointed out by a professor of, she was a colleague of mine, with a professor in US University, and he used to tell that fellows from India, they never ask questions. This has been, you are right. I think we should have been trained right from the early stages to ask questions to the teachers.
very, very well pointed out, sir. But I believe things are changing a lot now because I interact a lot with students now. I interact with a lot of the younger generation now, where I have two daughters, who one is in school and one is in college, where I can say that in my daughter's school, it is uh, encouraged. Questioning is encouraged a lot. People are very, very, students are very comfortable when it comes to asking questions to their teachers. When I do a lot of training sessions with employees, with everyone, totally believe that things are changing. People are becoming very open. Leaders are now open with asking questions, because when we do, my forte lies in taking communication skills trainings, and leaders come to us and tell us that please tell our employees to ask us questions. Leaders want them to ask questions for the sole reason that when the communication is not clear and the employees don't ask them questions, then it results in waste of time, results in a lot of rework. So that's why they have rather they are all becoming more encouraging about the questions. And I'm sure many people who are there in the session today who will agree that now the culture is definitely changing. Now the people are becoming more open to asking questions. And as I'm saying that communication skills trainings are my fortes, so we encourage a lot of people. We speak a lot of about that, how important open ended questions are, how important leading questions are. We teach them those skills so that they can ask better questions, because simple thing that I always say is that better questions will give you better answers. If you're not going to ask, you're not going to get the right answer at all. So I really believe things are changing, and I am doing my bit to change things.
Can I interrupt,
So thank
madam?
you. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. It's
Yes,
going to be a participative session, not a simple classroom where the instructor or the
definitely.
faculty keeps on lecturing and then the students keep listening. It's going to be really a participative program. Now that culture is changing, the education system also is getting completely revolutionized. Another point I would
Absolutely.
like to add in this point in the video, it's also the responsibility of the instructor when he gives the instructions. Uh, he should have also given the do's and don'ts. Okay,
Definitely.
the rules of the game. Then only the participants, the students or the participants, maybe the guy who was standing on the bench or the people standing around him, they would have also understood the rules of the game, and also they would have taken adequate precautions, ensuring that the guy is not injured or things like that. So the
Absolutely.
instructor should have given the do's and don'ts. This is my opinion, madam.
Yes, definitely agree. It is the mistake. That's the reason. That's what I started off with. That it is a mistake of both of them. The
Yeah,
instructors' communication should have been more clear, and the
yeah,
person who was going to stand on the bench should have asked, should have
yeah,
clarified why he
right.
is listening. Someone has very well pointed out, Raghavan sir has said that if the leaders are well equipped in the subject, he or she may not fear about replying to the questions. Definitely, because I see that leaders who are very confident about themselves are the ones who encourage their employees to ask questions. Where the leader itself is not confident, for sure, he's not going to ask. I see, yes, in the school space, we are placing a lot of emphasis on every student's voice being heard and addressed. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much, all of you. So here,
Thank you.
I'm moving on to the very important thing that happens most of the time when we are talking about listenings, that what are the barriers that happen to effective listening. I have pointed out a few, and please do add if you feel that there are more than this, more barriers that you face when it comes to listening. One of the most important barrier that happens to listening is perception. Our perception, some time ago itself, I had just told that we have a lot of preconceived notions. Sir, can I request you to mute, please? Thank you. Our perception about a certain person, our perception about a certain religion, our perception based on gender, biases that come stemming based on gender, based on our likability of a certain person in the team. There are a lot of leaders whom I see are very comfortable with people who always say yes, yes, yes. If there is a person who says no in between, then a bias comes in between. We form a perception about that person, that this person does not agree, this person interrupts, this person speaks up a lot. So a lot of barriers stem from our perceptions or our biases about people. Language becomes a major barrier when we speak in a certain language. I don't know how much it is prevalent in Chennai or with all of you, but I, as sir had told, that I stay in a place called Nasik, which is 3 hours away from Mumbai. Here, language is a major barrier. There are a lot of people who are not comfortable if you speak totally in English. They want you to speak in Marathi, they want you to speak in Hindi, because so many times they feel that the message is not being conveyed to us the right way if we are not comfortable with the language. So language becomes a major barrier when it comes to listening, that when people are being spoken with in the language that they're comfortable with, then the listening skills increase majorly. The interest in listening to the person increases. One of the most major barrier to listening is the distractions. And I'm sure all of you will agree that you all are attending an online session. There are a lot of people whom I'm having to tell that please, sir, please mute your self, because parallelly the attention span of a person is to listen much more than the other person who is talking. So if for example, if I say that a person can speak, I don't know the exact data. So I'm just giving you an example that if a certain person can speak, say 400 words a minute, our brain has the ability to listen to 1,000 words per minute. So the gap that happens between, our mind starts reeling in these different directions. So there are a lot of internal distractions that happen, which is in our mind. When a person is speaking, we want to speak, we want to interrupt, we want to share our point of view. We are thinking of the answer that we are going to give, we are thinking of our response. And the external distractions that happen, people are talking in between, we continuously have emails that are coming in, we continuously have telephone calls that are happening, which force us to multitask. The next one is jumping to conclusions. Again, it was there in the assessment that I had given, that most of the time, a barrier that happens in effective listening is that we tend to jump to our own conclusions. We decide our response, our thinking, our perception based on what we think. Today, the video that we just saw, the guy who was wearing the green jacket, who was on the bench, who had to fall, he jumped to a conclusion based on his perception that if I'm supposed to fall, I'm supposed to fall in front. He came to that conclusion even without asking the other person. And the person who was instructing, based on his perception, he thought that I am telling the people to come behind. So obviously that the other person, he just assumed, we so many times just assume so many things. We assume that the other person has understood our message. We assume that what we have understood where the other person is speaking is the right thing. And based on that, we just jump to conclusions. So which barrier is it that you face most often? You can use the chat box. Or is there any other barrier? Please go ahead and let me know.
Madam, if I can add, the most
Sure.
important barrier is arrogance and authority.
Okay.
That's the most important. Look at all the political leaders, not only in India, across the world. They are so arrogant and authoritative that they don't listen to the people at all. And arrogance and authority is one of the major problems, even for political
Okay.
leaders, corporate leaders, and everybody.
They feel that there's no need to listen because of
Yeah,
their
this authority,
authority.
the power of authority. The guy, the green guy, was
Absolutely.
falling from the chair. Is also probably authority. Kind of people listen to authority and they don't like to ask questions. So the arrogance and authority is a major contribution to anything else. I think I would say. And then Sigmund Freud said very clearly that you have extremely unknown subconscious memories deeply buried into your mind, and it always surfaces when that is conflicted or contradicted somehow, and that is another major issue. So deeply buried unconscious memories is a second major issue from a psychological perspective, madam. These two are, I will
Okay,
like to
great.
add it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for adding. Okay, mind block, power, distraction. Okay, subject interest is also a barrier. Well said, sir. Yes, definitely. The more you're interested in a certain topic, the more you are bound to listen to the person. That's the reason when we do trainings, the first question I usually ask is that has the employee opted for this training, or is he being made to sit in the training by the organization? Where the employees opt for the training, then definitely the interest is more. Prejudice, perception, bias. Yes, very well, very well said by all of you. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for
Madam,
sharing.
on this
Sure.
assumption you mentioned, actually, can I just add something? It's kind of a funny, but it's very important, I think. When you
Please
said
do
people
so.
assume a lot, right? There's something we always say to people: do not assume anything, because if you assume anything, what happens is you make ass of you and me. Assume, if you look at it as you, me.
Yes,
That's what it
yes.
says.
Hmm.
If you assume
Absolutely.
something, you make an ass of you and me.
Yes, I have also read this somewhere, sir. Absolutely. Assumptions is a major problem when it comes to listening as well. So I'm just now going to focus on few internal as well as external skills that we can work upon to increase our listening skills. So before I go on to that, what do you think that you are when it comes to listening? Are you a sponge or are you a trampoline? There are a lot of, when I usually do this activity, when I ask people that you're a sponge or a trampoline, there is a lot of different viewpoints that I get when so I just want to hear from one or two of you. I just quickly want to hear what are your thought process when you see a sponge and when you see this trampoline. What do you think? How do you relate this to listening?
True, you want a true answer? When I'm listening to my
Yes.
wife, I'm a sponge. Because the woman
Okay.
says that you have to just listen. I don't want a solution from you or answer from me. Just listen to my problem. That's what most
Okay.
women say. So when you're talking to a woman, better to be a sponge. But then when you're
Okay.
talking to a very progressive, aggressive guy, you better to be a trampoline because he doesn't like a sponge. So it's again
Okay.
depending upon who you're talking to.
And what do you mean that you are a trampoline? Then what is it that you do that makes you a trampoline, sir?
So somebody with a progressive, aggressive mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is expecting something return immediately. He doesn't have a patience. So if you, for example, if
Absolutely.
somebody talking to you, he's in trouble and he wants a solution. If you don't say
Mm-hmm.
anything, you are like a sponge. He's going to lose his patience and he's going to go
Mm-hmm.
more violent. Actually, I've seen people becoming more violent if you do not respond to them.
Don't
So you
respond.
have to be a
Right.
trampoline to keep to walk along with it. If you do not give confidence, I'm walking along with you. You'll completely become more impatient and more violent, madam. This we have seen that in a lot of
Okay.
violent situations. That is why if you look at
Okay.
that's very important. Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Both are equal.
Okay. Others, if anyone would like to share their viewpoint, whether you're a sponge or a trampoline.
Madam, what is tarpaulin first?
Sponge
Because
is
we are
just
not knowing the
listening.
answer.
Sponge is
I
just listening, only receiving, whereas trampoline is
okay.
reacting. Trampoline
Okay.
reacts
Okay.
back.
Okay. Okay. Parallelly, I just heard someone asking that what exactly is a trampoline. Sir, if you have seen in play areas for kids, trampoline is a place where the moment we put our foot on the trampoline, we bounce in the air. Then we go down, again we jump and we bounce up in the air. So what would a person, when you were talking about a sponge absorbs and just keeps absorbing. And a trampoline is something where the moment it is touched, there is a mechanism. More people who are from the science would be able to say what the mechanism is, that based on that mechanism, a person bounces off. The person jumps up and then comes down again, then again jumps. That's the mechanism that happens on a trampoline. So as sir said, person who is listening
I think
is a
depending on the situation, either you
yeah.
have to be a sponge or you have to be a trampoline.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. That depending on the situation, at times we just have to listen. Have to lend a listening ear, and at times we have to participate in the discussion. We have to bounce back. We have to speak up, and we have to share our thoughts, share our ideas as well. So when there is a team meeting that is happening, we expect that everyone participates. But so many times when you're addressing an audience in for something, then probably you would pardon me. I thought someone spoke up. No, okay, I think okay. Yes. When someone wants to hear you, be a sponge. When someone asks solution, opinion, be a trampoline, retaliation. Yes. Very, very well said. So now, as I said, we are just going to focus on few skills, few internal skills that we need, as well as few external skills that we need to become a better leader. So when I speak about internal skills, as the word itself suggests, we're talking about in our mind, what is it that we can do so that we can become a effective listener as a leader. So first thing being that at during this time that there are so many distractions, as we just spoke during the discussing the barriers, that there are so many internal external distractions. I see a lot of team members when we have our sessions who say that most of the times our bosses are so busy that they don't have time to actually listen to us, and which I'm sure most of you will agree that the time becomes a major constraint. But so many times, as we spoke up, that people just want you to be a sponge or want you to be a trampoline. But the key there becomes is that they want you to listen. When they come with a problem, they want you to listen. Probably you just give 5 minutes of your time, but that 5 minutes of the time they expect that you can give them your uninterrupted attention during that time. So internally what is required is to probably calm yourself and just give yourself that permission that the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm just going to listen to this person and not react and not offer any suggestion or advice until and unless he finishes. And externally, the most important thing is just maybe put your phone aside, close your laptop, or just tell that person, give me 5 minutes, I'll just finish this and then we'll get into the discussion. I'll finish whatever I'm doing. what people usually share with us is that what leaders tend to do is they're working on their laptop and simultaneously try to listen to the other person. They're looking at their phone. In between, a call comes in. You're talking, they just pick up that call. They say, Ari, this is urgent. I need to pick up this call. And they tend to start speaking again. So this is something which, if possible, again, see, whenever we are talking about thing, 100% of the times it is not going to be possible. There will be times when you might not be able to do it. But if you feel, here, I will be coming to it. In a second, I'll come to that point a little later. That's a third point. Accepting listening without rushing to judge or solve. Accept. It is not necessary that you have to agree to what the other person is saying. You can put across your disagreement a little later. But while the other person is speaking, it is very, very important that we don't. Stephen Covey has very, very well put that please do not listen with the intent to respond. Please listen with the intent to understand. Not respond, reply. Do not listen with the intent to reply, listen with the intent to understand the other person. Most of the time, we are listening with the intent to reply. Hey, what is my response going to be? Instead, it is the intent or the intention that matters. When we get into the conversation itself, so many times we are on the defensive mode. We are not prepared to listen. I always feel that whenever we enter a conversation, it is our intention that matters a lot. If our intention itself is to just reply, to clarify, to justify ourselves, then we will never be in a receptive mode. We will be only in a reactive mode, immediately, impulsively react on something. So it's important to be on a accepting and a receptive mode. And last thing is to be able to empathize. I'm sure all of us here know what is the meaning of empathy, to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, to be able to understand the unspoken cues. When we might be very, very busy, coming back to my earlier point, we might be very, very busy, but understanding from the other person's non-verbal communication that how important or how urgent a certain thing is, where probably at that point maybe you're not able to take out time, but telling that person that okay, at the moment I'm busy, but we'll definitely today we'll try to catch up and attend to this thing. And when we attend, then we give that person the proper attention, proper time. And when I speak about proper attention and time, is without the internal and external distractions that are happening in our mind as well as in our surroundings. Understanding the other person, his point of view, his perspective. That is a very, very important task when it comes to a leader. As Sir very well pointed out, that it is the arrogance most of the times that I don't need to listen, I don't need to understand your point of view. That perception, as I just said, that the perceptions that we form about our team members, the biases that we form, that somewhere comes into the picture where we are not able to empathize with those people. So, as I said, an active listener and an empathetic listener is much different than a passive listener or a person who's just hearing. So when a person comes in, initially he might just want you to be a sponge, but after some time, probably you have to be a trampoline as well, depending on the situation. Now, when I speak about external skills, it is that when a person is speaking, it is very, very important to acknowledge what he is speaking. How is it that we can acknowledge is by your verbal and your non-verbal communication. So many times, even if you don't want to speak up, we don't want to interrupt, we want the other person to complete their conversation. But at that time also, we have a lot of non-verbal cues that we can give the other person. I see a lot of people sitting with a straight face when they're listening. The other person does not get the signal that you are interested in the conversation. If we want to show interest in the conversation, we try to create eye contact, we try to nod, we try to give the other person, when we are listening to a person, a simple lean in when the other person is speaking,
More on
shows the
listening.
other person that he is interested in the conversation. He's talking and you're looking at the phone, gives a clear signal to him that I'm not interested in the conversation. Show the other person that you value what he is speaking and you value him. Ask thoughtful questions. When we ask thoughtful questions, it is not interrupting. Interrupting is when we speak something about ourselves, when we try to defend ourselves, when we try to justify ourselves. But asking a question or two in between, oh, this happened, why it happened, then that is not interrupting. That is trying to encourage the person to speak up. It deepens the understanding where the other person feels energized to speak more, energized to share more. So, asking questions is not interrupting at times. Asking questions is only trying to build on what the other person is saying and lead him to speak more. And last but not the least, this is a very important point when it comes when we are maybe instructing the other person or when you're listening to a person when instructions are being given, which is something known as paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is basically, this again happens a lot of misunderstandings that happen during communication can be avoided when we encourage the culture of paraphrasing in our teams. It is a simple thing that once I have finished whatever I have said, I encourage my team members to tell me that, okay, now that we have ended the meeting, can someone just summarize the key points? Or even in a one on one conversation, after the conversation has finished, you have heard the other person. Just to confirm your understanding, you just say that, sir, just to summarize, what I have understood is one, two, three. So if it's right, perfect. If it's not, the other person will let you know that probably one and two were right. The third point was not this. Instead, I meant this. This would deeply reduce the miscommunications. This would reduce the time taken in doing the task. The confusion will be gone and there will be absolute clarity. Even if we speak about that video, had the instructor just asked the other person that, okay, what is it that you have understood? Or the guy in the green jacket had told that, okay, what I've understood is that I need to fall in front. Immediately the thing would have been clarified. So paraphrasing is something which I always say that if we are able to encourage in our families, in our teams, we can reduce as a listener as well as a speaker, we can reduce a lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings that happen because of lack of clarity in communication. Because we think that the person has understood our message and the other person thinks that the message has been received. So now just to sum it all up, the practical tips that you can apply while listening is a very simple 3-second rule before responding. Before you say anything, just give yourself 3 seconds to absorb what is being said, pause, and then respond. This is just a gist of what we have already said. Repeat and reflect, summarize what is being said, manage all the distractions, internal as well as external. Try to understand the unspoken cues, the body language of a person. Give the other person verbal as well as non-verbal informations like, I understand, I see, please go on, that's really great, whatever. And last but one of the most important things is ask, don't assume. We just tend to assume a lot of things. Please ask. So here we come to an end of our session. So before we go,
Madam, on the external skills and the internal skills, is it okay if I share something? Something very
no, sir,
important.
please go ahead. Please go ahead, sir.
The all these skills on the list you put in the previous slide, it seems to be applicable to people in physical presence, one to other. They're seeing each other. The biggest challenge in situations where you're not seeing them, in a faraway event is happening, and you are talking to them on your phone, for example. So, or in a situation where there's a kidnapping, ransom negotiations going on, hijack negotiations going on. That time, beyond what you listed, there are three extremely critical skills are required. First one is visualization of the situation, because you're not seeing that. It's happening somewhere outside your eyesight. and you are visualizing based on the speaker to you. That's number one. That a that skill is extremely important for that. Second is dynamism, because when somebody is speaking, the dynamic possibility of things changing continuously because of the unknown situation away from you. And the third important thing is that a detection of a change in the environment, whether it can be a lie, it can be an anguish, or it can be the truth. You do not know whether they're telling the lie or the truth. So these three skills are extremely important, because we have seen events where a lot of psychologists, experienced psychologists, have failed to understand what is happening, because 99% psychologists see a patient in front of them. They completely fail when it just talked on the phone or something. So that three skills are extremely important in situations where it is applicable, madam. Just wanted to share that with you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, definitely this was more from the perspective of a leadership when we're talking about a team meeting that is going on, or when a person comes to speak to you. This is the premise of the entire session, and that how is it that a leader can interact with their team members as well in the organization, or online sessions as well. As I said, external distractions are a lot more prevalent when we speak about online sessions. So that is also something that we have to manage when we are not face to face, we are having Zoom meetings, and or we are working from home. These things happen. So these all the things that we have spoken have been from that perspective. So yes, thank you so much. So before we open the forum for a question answer session, I would just like to know from all of you that what has been your key takeaway from today's session? If you all can share it on the chat window, or yes, Mr. Vishal, you have raised your hand, sir. You can please go ahead.
So, hello, ma'am. Uh, hello.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So, ma'am, my thought, I want to put a light on a disconnection. That is a different thought of mine, what I experienced so far. You talked about perception, right? So, I need a feedback from you. Like when I work in a team, we trying to make a perception about the persons so early. So next time we listen that person, due to that good or bad perception, we show the interest in listening. So what I started practicing, like disconnection from the perception we made for the person. So I expecting some feedback about this, how it is helpful, or any other practice should I do for making a perception and then showing the interest? It is kind of bad thing. So yeah.
Sir, can I request you just to repeat the question?
Question is like we made we keen to made a perception about the person
Right.
while listening, right? We make
Right.
good or bad perception about the person,
Okay.
and next time we are going to listen on the basis of perception we made for that person.
Absolutely.
So if the like my question or I'm just expecting your guidance over it. How what I am currently practicing, like disconnecting from the perception I have made for that person particularly, and then I'm trying to listening nowadays, so that I can be present and be assertive while listening and communicating with him or her.
Absolutely, sir. You are in the right direction. You are in the right direction. But definitely, we have to train our mind to think that every opportunity when we are interacting with someone is an opportunity, is a new opportunity, is a new experience, and we should not allow our past our past experiences with that person to cloud the new experiences. So giving that person an opportunity to come out as a new experience is going to be something which is very important when we are communicating or listening. So you are in the right direction, giving yourself the opportunity, or telling yourself to disconnect from the previous perception that you have formed, and making this a new experience.
So personally feeling it is kind of difficult sometimes, but
I know. Agreed.
Yeah.
I can totally agree, but as I said, no, that intention sometimes matters a lot. At least maybe once, twice, thrice, it's going to be difficult. Then probably we will be able to train our mind to thinking that, okay, let me give this person a chance. Maybe this time is not going to be like the previous time.
Hi, I'm Ram Kumar.
Yes.
I have two things to say about the program. It was a very neat, superb program. I liked it a lot. And
Thank you so much, sir.
the passport, I would say, to the world outside. And I would say in a spiritual term, communication is the passport to the world inside. There are two things. Both are very important. And according to what I have heard, the one thing I have learned and take away is the paraphrasing. I think once you complete the whole thing, set of instructions to people, I think you should paraphrase. I think, as you rightly said, I think that is one thing I've learned. I know about it, but since you told me, it's a reiteration for me to understand that paraphrasing is so important. Did you understand? What did you understand? And making them tell what exactly they have understood. In case they have not understood it right, you can tell them once again to reiterate and reinforce the whole thing so that both the things are clear. That is, from my mouth to his, from my mind to his mind, everything is 100% right, is something which I learned. Now, another thing, I have been a businessman for about 30 or plus years. I've been quite successful in terms of communication. The one thing I have learned is when you talk on the phone, see, when you are smiling, people really, actually, you're smiling right now. When you're smiling, people listen to you. So that smile is a very, very important factor in any communication thing that is happening, whether you're a leader, whether you're a follower, whether you're anybody, everybody is a leader. But I think this smile, I believe there are only 17 muscles needed to smile and 45 muscles are to frown, actually. So it is easier to smile, and smiling keeps the communication channels open.
Absolutely. Very well said, sir.
I thought I will share with you for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You did very well. I liked your session very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. And I would just like to share my details. If any of you would like to get in touch with me, any of you would like to email me for any kind of assistance. So these are the details. You all can just note it down if you all are interested, or you can always get in touch with Gopi sir so that we can connect and we can associate further. So yes, thank you so much. The forum is open now to any questions, anything, any discussions, any thoughts, totally open. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your, the inputs that have been shared, because I have also learned immensely from all of you. You all have been a very interactive audience, so thanks a lot. So now I will stop sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Rajul.
sir.
Thanks, Rajul, for the excellent session. We'll keep the floor open for question and answers now. Yeah, participants, you may please unmute and ask your questions.
I just want to share. There's a video clip on Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
You can Google and see the leaders speak last. Which actually reiterates about listening. Actually, listening is the most important thing. But though we are aware, it requires a lot of training, because as somebody also pointed out, generally leadership position means you have to talk. I stand in front of students, postgraduates, PhD students, and as much as I try to engage them in to ask questions, it's expected that it's a mindset, I think, from childhood, pretty feudal
Absolutely.
attitude. You listen to your parents, listen to elders, listen. So you you're not supposed to be interactive. So as we age, most people here are superannuated. So we are supposed to spill uh, words of wisdom, not listen. Which actually
Absolutely.
is embarrassing, because especially if you're a college, people assume that we know everything. Actually, we know very little. Most grown-ups I have found are give-ups. Actually, they yeah, they are not learning anything new. They are retired and sitting at home. I mean, many of us, yes. So you should actually address your session to young minds. School, college students. They'll be more receptive, and change is much easier for them, and they will implement it much easier than people our age, because very difficult. One the society expects us to speak, not listen. uh, and the other thing is, it's actually very difficult to have interactive sessions in college. Very difficult. In fact, I have found young second year BTechs are much more interactive than MTech PhDs. They say, they are not looking at knowledge. Actually, they want quick answers and skills. So it's actually
Right.
very difficult for us when we lecture to senior students. Actually, it's just for
I
absolutely, but great session. Very well summed up in the last thing. Good, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I totally agree that it's a more of a mindset change that needs to happen.
Yeah, Sanjay.
No, sir. Thanks, sir, and thanks, madam. It was an excellent session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Krishnan, sir.
Good session. Good morning, ma'am. Good session. At least
Thank you.
it motivates me to be a good listener, because even today I got 6 out of 8. So I should come to 3 or less than 3. So
Yes.
hopefully I will try. It's just a reminder. I mean, we see older guys, we tend to assume that we are to be giving advice and other things. I think I learned something that I don't have to. Thank you.
Most welcome, sir.
Naresh.
Yes, sir. Yes, Gopi.
Yes, boss. Go on. Any questions?
No, it was very interesting. Thanks for the presentation, ma'am. Because
Thank you.
we see this every day. The listening skills are one thing which I always talk to my team, and I'm also learning in turn every day, and that is really helping me in many ways. But only thing what happens is, like, the kind of lifestyle we have, sometimes the patience of listening is becoming a challenge based on the challenges we have around us. That is also, a kind of situation we can overcome. But still, what happens to me, actually, I'm keeping myself in that place. I expect a listener to understand quickly and answer quickly. This is an expectation which maybe I am wrong. Just want your perspective on this, ma'am.
I know where you're coming from, considering the lack of time that is there. This is something which I feel most leaders want, that you understand quickly and you respond quickly to whatever I'm saying. But I feel, sir, that there is a lot of difference between people. There might be a few people who are very quick learners, who are very quick to adapt. This is something which I see in my trainings also, that there are a few people who will understand very quickly and who will get everything very quickly. But then there will be a few people who need, again, an explanation, who will ask questions and no, I've not got it. So this kind of expectation from everyone can be a little difficult in the long run. Maybe giving the agenda about things a little earlier, or giving a brief about things a little earlier, that this is what is going to happen in the next session or in the next meeting, and helping the others, or creating a culture where people can be more prepared when they come with the subject matter, or giving them opportunities to understand the entire thing better, so that when they speak to you, they are much more prepared to answer and understand quickly, rather than coming with a clean slate and not being able to understand and answer quickly. That's what I feel. So that's something which we always encourage. That
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely,
yes.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Taufik.
Hi, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for the interactive session.
Thank you.
My question is, if somebody is saying to us, so parallelly our mind is about to think something else to answer. So usually what I used to do, I used to stop them and take the point so that I can answer them at the end of the session once they finish all the questions. But still, we cannot actively listen because parallelly our mind will be thinking what to be answered. So you have any other technique? So how you handle in your career? This is my question.
Usually, sir, good question, sir. Usually, what I usually do is that I answer questions then and there. If you see, even in my entire session, I never kept it as that, please ask all the questions in the end. I prefer taking questions then and there and answering them then and there as much as possible, so that there is no chance that when you're asking me a question, my mind is only with you, I'm present totally with you and answering your question. Because when we try to do things parallelly, when we try to take down questions, so then there is a breaking of thought at your end as well as at my end. So that is what I usually do. Is that's why I don't keep question answers always for the end. I always, even in all my sessions, I encourage my participants to just speak up whenever and the session is going on.
Okay, only last this point. When some of my colleagues, what they used to say is, please don't interrupt. So they forget the point, what they're about to say. So I also suggest them, you also note down the point so that you don't forget. So this also
Yeah,
I face across in my practical experience. They don't
makes sense.
allow me to interrupt because they,
Yeah,
if they
then
stop
in
the
that
flow, they
case,
forget their points here.
in that case,
Okay,
then
ma'am.
definitely it makes sense noting it down immediately that this is the point that I have. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir. Yes.
VDM sir, would you like to add something, sir? Murthy sir.
Sir, Mr. Vishal has raised his hand.
Yeah, Vishal. Vishal, please go on, Vishal.
Yeah, hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, as all of us know, this is the era of reels, right? And due to reels, watching the reels, the younger generation of mine, or the generation previous to me, like Gen Z generation, uh, are are lots of watching reels. Have you come across such a situation? So, because of this, listening habits or habit of concentration or habit of actively listening is becoming trouble for those kind of uh, children or persons, or yeah, the young generation, I must say. So have you come across such a situation, and what is your thought, like what you should uh, uh, like uh, changing their minds, the person of uh, those kind of bad habits, what you can suggest?
Totally agree with you, Vishal. Because of the online distractions that are there. When I spoke about internal and external distractions, I guess I should have spoken about this distraction also, which is there in the younger generation. That is the social media distraction that is there, which is very, very prevalent. What I would I have not actually personally come across something like this, but my suggestion here would definitely be is that allocate times for everything. There needs to be a time and place for everything. Social media is definitely making the generation today very, very impatient when it comes to listening, as you're saying, because they're watching reels, watching videos also at the 2x speed. YouTube videos are being watched at 2x speed. We don't even have the patience anymore to listen to people. A video also at the normal speed. So that is what we expect in life also, that everything should go on in a 2x speed only. But somewhere, I think, I feel that mindfulness is something which helps us a lot in such a thing, where we make an intention of being mindfully present, being 100% present in the moment that we are in. That is again a very, very, it is a skill. It is not something, it is not a quality or a trait that can be just which you have. It is a skill that needs to be developed with a lot of conscious decisions that I take. I have to be mindfully present when someone is speaking. There will be a lot of thoughts, a lot of distractions that will come in, and bringing yourself back to the present is, as I said, is a skill that one needs to develop. But for that, first thing is that we, as you have very well pointed out, that you realize that this is a problem. Most people don't even realize that there is a problem. Once you realize and you understand that this is a problem, that I don't have patience to listen, only then can you inculcate this habit of mindfulness, staying 100% present where you are and listening with the intention to understand the other person.
Even the school should add this as a part of soft skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally feel mindfulness, a little bit of a meditation, all these things should be added in the school curriculum for people now. And not only school, offices also should bring in this mindfulness. And we actually do a lot of sessions on mindfulness because this is the need of the hour, because there are so many distractions at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
So, sir.
I have a two-part question. One is,
Yes, sir.
which
Yeah,
is
please go.
more difficult, to be a good listener or a good public speaker? The second question is, which will make you more successful, being a good listener or being a good public speaker? Which is more beneficial? Don't tell me both.
No. Yes, sir. I will not tell you both. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I feel if I tell you very, very seriously, frankly, I don't think I'm the expert to give you an answer on this, that what is going to make you more successful. But it will be as a leader, you will definitely become more approachable and more trustworthy if you can become a better listener. Listening is a skill which is usually very underrated. People don't actually think that it is a very important skill. Speaking is something which is considered a very important skill, and people work a lot on developing that skill. People are, with practice, both the skills can be developed, but listening is something which is usually not given that much attention, which needs to be given if you want to become a leader who is more approachable and more trustworthy for your team or your subordinates.
Which is more difficult, to become a good listener, to be a good public speaker? Which is more challenging?
Which is more challenging? I guess more challenging is to become a good public speaker. Listening is a skill which you can inculcate with thoughtful intention. Thank you, sir. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Good answer.
Thank you.
So, VTM, sir.
Yes, it's very interesting subject which you have taken up. I think I'm from Aditya Birla Group, so we get trained even when we retire, and we train others also. What you are listed out is an ideal leader, what you should follow. Of course, you should hang all your whatever point you are given in each room to follow. It's impossible to follow all the time, but most of the time, I think you should get a mark of less than 3, what you had said. That's a good thing. But again, see, leadership is one, when you take up leadership, it depends on the audience. See, for example, my experience, I've been moving internationally. But in Thailand, see, in fact, I used to take a subject of TPM. That's one. In Thailand, we used to manage the factories. There, mostly the girls work in the factories. When I talk to them, they will never ask a question because in Buddhism, it is said that Guru is everything. So whatever Guru says, accepted. So it took me 3 years to train them to ask questions. So that's the culture also. See, what you imbibe the culture. Like I said in US, the students are trained right from the beginning. In fact, whereas in India, if a child asks question, the teacher takes it very differently. So those are the things. But your presentation is excellent, and you allowed participants to be interactive. That's a good sign. And the young lady, I wish you all the best in your life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your views and your. Thank you so much.
Yes, Anandan.
வணக்கம் வாழ்த்துக்கள் சதானந்தம் மேடம் morning good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I'm Sadanandam from Karur, retired person.
Yes, sir.
What you have told is all really worth like gold or whatever it is. The thing is, it has to be reached to the students, to the youngsters. That is what it is needed today. Number one. Number two, if the leader and the listener, the opposite man who is listening on the dais person and the other one sitting on the opposite side, if the frequency of thought, no, we tell them, their mindsets are same, then listening also will be good, their questioning also will be good, the leader will be talking to them, and the leader should be easily approachable, just like Kamaraj. Kamaraj did not need a good speaker like Annadurai or others, but he did a lot of things. So like that, Nelson Mandela or whatever it is, Abraham Lincoln. So they are practically field workers. So that is what it is needed today. That way, if the leader is there, then the follower will not ask any question. Okay, we will go ahead with him, along with him, like that. But the problem is both are not that way. So that is what it is going on. Lot of chaos, here in our country, and based on Americans, the past 1 week, a lot of I don't know, for another 1 year, lot of problems will be there. How we are going to manage, that's the thing. So it is all like that. So how we have to take up with the students. That's what I would request you as well as Mr. Gopi and others. Because every day we are learning. We used to tell, today we have born freshly and we lead our life. And when we sleep, yes, we have done good things to the society. So go sleep happily, like that. That's what we are going. So that way it has to be inculcated to the youngsters. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. I agree.
Dr. Kadalesan?
No questions, sir. But one thing I observed from Rajul, if you give a negative response, immediately she is accepting and thanking for the comment. Then she is giving her own comments. That is an excellent attitude, excellent character I learned from you. Thank you, madam. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.